Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I received an email from YouTube. I guess when you make videos on YouTube, you get like a year end, like a year in review type of summary. And my most watched video on here is about my light sensitivity. For whatever reason, I was very surprised by this because my light sensitivity is very, very rare. That video is also very, very old. But I have a very rare type of light sensitivity. I don't know anybody else that has it. So I'm surprised that people are watching that video. And so I'm starting to think that the reason people are watching it is because they're trying to find out if someone has the type of light sensitivity that they have. I'm guessing these are people who are symptomatic, but haven't been able to figure out what their issue is. So I wanted to redo that video basically to do kind of like an updated version of it because I guess the one that I did before, I don't know if it was a Periscope broadcast. It's very low quality. So this one will be a little bit higher quality. It'll be more recent. And you can refer to this one if you want to know more about light sensitivity. I think I did more than one video. I think there was like a part 1 and a part 2. So this one is just going to be a little bit more condensed. And I think I did like an FAQ as well. But just know this, any suggestions that you have to help me with my light sensitivity, I've already tried them and they don't work. So I'm just going to preface this video by letting you guys know that. So you might have noticed I don't edit any of my YouTube videos. And one of the biggest reasons for that is because I cannot stand the light from a laptop. I can stand it for very short periods of time, depending on what kind of light it is. And I will talk about that in this video. But to sit down and actually edit a video would take a long time because editing can take hours, even on a short video. And I just don't want to expose myself too much to a laptop light. I do edit these a little bit, but I make sure that I do it, that it's very minimal editing because I just can't sit there for hours. I actually went to film school. For those of you that don't know, I do have a bachelor's degree. I graduated from a university. I don't like giving too much information, but I did graduate from film school many years ago. So it is disappointing that I cannot actually sit and polish these videos up nicely because it's something that every time I watch my videos, it's like I wish I could just do different cuts here, cut out this silent part. It's literally all of my videos are like a one take. So everything that you see here is done in one take. If I, cough or burp or whatever, it's in the video because I just don't edit my videos down. So my light sensitivity, I don't want to say, I've been diagnosed with two things. I was diagnosed first with Lyme disease many years ago. Then I was diagnosed with something called stiff person syndrome at the end of 2018. I know light sensitivity is associated with Lyme disease, but from the people that I've met and from the little bit that I know about, the type of light sensitivity associated with Lyme disease, what I have is not that. Sunglasses are not going to help me in this case. The sunlight doesn't bother me too much. As long as I have sunglasses, I'm fine. But the type of light sensitivity that I have is kind of specific, and sunglasses or colored lenses are not going to do a thing because it is not based on brightness of light. It's based on the type of light. So to summarize it, I have a very severe sensitivity to fluorescent light, also to LED light, to most artificial lighting, but fluorescent light seems to be the one that is the most painful. Fluorescent light and then some types of LED lights, and I'll get more into that later in the video. So fluorescent light is essentially not a constant stream of light. Actually, no light is a constant stream of light. Every light that you see is actually flashing at you. It's strobing at you at such a very high speed that you can't see it. And fluorescent light, actually, you can see it with fluorescent light. If it's an old fluorescent light, you can actually see that flicker. But for me, even, the newest, strongest fluorescent light is painful because it has that flicker. It's flickering at a very, very high speed that you can't see it with your eye. And for whatever reason, I think maybe that's strobing. It might be a similar effect to like video games where they're flashing so much that it can cause a seizure. I don't know if I would have a seizure. I've never spent enough time under that kind of light in order to find out. But I know that I get really bad pressure in my head when I'm under that light. And even after I am away from that light, the pain will sometimes persist. And when I first started having these issues, the pain would persist sometimes for days before it would actually go away. So for this reason, I can't go into supermarkets, clothing stores, any kind of indoor store that has fluorescent lighting. I have to stay out of it. Or I have to know exactly what I'm going to get in the store. For example, if I'm going to go get eggs, I need to know exactly where it is. And I can go quick in and out. It has to be under 10 minutes and, in and out of the store. So typically I don't do my own grocery shopping. I either have like my mom do it or I will do like an Instacart type of thing. Thank God for Instacart because that's a real lifesaver. So I have a similar sensation with certain LED lights, with most indoor lighting. And so I just avoid it altogether. There are some stores that I have identified that are kind of safer for me, but I can't go into a store casually and just go shop into any store. I have to, know what I'm going in to get if I do decide to go in there. Maximum in a store that I consider safe for me, I can probably do 20 minutes. But again, I don't want to overdo it because it is very painful and the pain can last for days. No, sunglasses do not help under these types of lighting conditions. Like I said, it's not the color of the light, it's not the brightness of the light, it's the type of light and the flashing and the strobing behind it. Now, as you can see, well, you can't see it, there is a light right here. It's a lamp, and you might be wondering, why do you have a lamp so close to your face? So for those of you that are very young, there's something called an incandescent light bulb. You may not be familiar with these light bulbs because they're becoming obsolete. Nowadays, everything is fluorescent, LED, or I believe halogen. But incandescent light bulbs were those the old light bulbs that are just round that you screw in, and they just have the little filament inside. And those lights, they do flash as well, like every other type of light. But the flash and the fade is very delayed. So it's more of a constant stream of light. And so that doesn't affect me the way that these other lights do. But because these types of bulbs are obsolete or becoming obsolete, stores, restaurants, grocery stores, most indoor places do not have these anymore because they are not energy efficient. They consume a lot of energy. Here in the house, I think most of the lights, at least in my vicinity downstairs, are incandescent light bulbs. The lights in my room are incandescent light bulbs. And I think like in the hallways, I can tell if they're not. I can tell if it's a fluorescent light, especially if I'm under it for quite some time. It will eventually start to hurt. And sometimes even these lights, I think they do hurt. It's just not as sharp as the other lights, like fluorescent lights. So I typically won't turn on my ceiling light. I will just have a lamp off to the side with one light bulb. So the light in my room is pretty dim. So what can't I do? I cannot use a laptop for an extensive period of time. I cannot use a smartphone for an extensive period of time. I can't do my own grocery shopping clothing shopping. I can't do shopping indoors in an actual brick and mortar store because most of the time the lighting is fluorescent or LED or one of those, some kind of type of that light. I can't play video games. I can't watch TV. I can't go to the movies either because the projectors, and a lot of people have suggested this, why don't you use a projector? I've tried it. I've tried everything. Projectors are typically, I believe, LED, or they have like some other kind of bulb, but they're typically, I believe, LED. Especially if it's a digital film. I have tried, and I think there's one movie theater here in Los Angeles that continues to show 35 millimeter films. And I believe I went there once just because I was curious whether I would be able to tolerate the light. I sat through the whole movie. I forced myself to sit through the whole movie, but it was still painful in the end, and I wouldn't do it again. So I can't do a lot of things that I used to do. I can't, this is one of the main reasons that I don't work, is because I can't work from home because I can't use a laptop for a very long time. The last job that I had prior to, actually when my light sensitivity developed, I was actually working as an English teacher or an English tutor online. It was an actual online job, and it was really great. I mean, you could kind of customize your hours and that kind of thing. It was really fun. And unfortunately, I started developing this light sensitivity, and it started manifesting first as dizzy spells. So I felt like I was falling back out of my chair. And then eventually, little by little, it started to cause pain. It wasn't just dizziness, it was pain. And I had to stop. And so that's when I knew that I had to go completely on disability. Now, is this my only symptom? No. This is the symptom that probably keeps me from working. But is it the most dangerous symptom I have? No. I have a lot of other symptoms. I have food sensitivities and things like that that are more dangerous and that concern me a lot more than the light sensitivity. But the light sensitivity keeps me from even being able to work from home and that kind of thing. How do I cope and how do I accommodate myself? So when it comes to my phone, because that's something that I have to use, I need to have a phone. I had an old Droid Max. I actually should have brought it up here. For whatever reason, the Droid Max seems to be okay for my eyes. It's an old phone. It's probably from 2011 or 2012. And for a long time, I didn't really know why I could tolerate that phone as well as I could with minimal pain. But I could, and I can actually watch YouTube videos on there. It has been a lifesaver for me because I actually could use that phone and watch videos for the first time in a long time, years ago. And so I discovered, for whatever reason, the Droid Max worked for me. Unfortunately, it's a very old phone. It becomes outdated. Apps stop working. If you've ever had a phone for many years, eventually you cannot use anything on it. You have to do everything through a web browser. My YouTube actually recently stopped working on that phone, my YouTube app. So I now have to use the web browser for watching YouTube videos, which is kind of annoying. I did have to eventually upgrade to a Moto Z4. Now, for those of you that may be suffering with this condition, I don't know what it's called. It is not, there's this condition called I think it's called Rosen syndrome or something like that. It's not that. It's not a sensitivity to colors of light. It is a sensitivity to a type of light and to the flashing of the light. And it's typically because of a brain injury or something going on with your brain. I had a SPECT scan many years ago, and it showed that I had a mild traumatic brain injury, and I guess like hyperperfusion, which is like a lack of oxygen, I guess, in certain parts of the brain. So that's my closest guess as to why I have this problem. Now, I had to upgrade to my I had to upgrade my phone. I had to because my other phone just wasn't supporting any apps, and there are certain things that I need to do on my phone. I mean, that's just the way that the world is now. We have to have a smartphone because that's just how it goes. We need to we need to make phone calls. I have emails to check. And so it was, this actually happened within the last couple of years. I think it happened last year, maybe early last year. And I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to happen. So for those of you that are kind of scared, if you have this type of light sensitivity and you can't figure it out, here's one thing that I have learned. And it does take research. It takes a lot of just really digging for information, especially if you're purchasing a phone, if you're purchasing a laptop, if you're trying to find something that you can use with minimal pain. And granted, there are probably some of you out there that are worse than I am. So these things may not work for you, but here's a big difference. LED is not as bad as LCD, especially over time. So my hypothesis, my best guess when it comes to why I can tolerate the Droid Max and why I've been able to tolerate the Moto Z4 a little bit better, and I have a Chromebook that I seem to tolerate relatively well, is because it's LED backlit. LED lights degrade over time. That's one thing that I have learned. So if you have if you've ever seen an LED phone or a smartphone with something called screen burn, where it was left on for a long time and then when it was turned off, like when you turn it off and then you turn on a white screen, you could see that some of the, I guess, like pixels or something are burnt into it. That's because the I don't know how to explain it. The LEDs burn out, especially if you use them a lot. Technically, when you have the phone on, they're burning. They're burning and they degrade over time. That's the difference between LED, the quality of LED, and LCD. LCD doesn't do that because LCD is fluorescent backlit, which is why LCD is a lot worse for me. And I believe a lot of iPhones are LCD. And there's a lot of laptops that are LCD. And that tends to be very, very painful for me. And I can't tolerate it at all. But with my Droid Max, which was a very old phone, I noticed that over time it degraded very quickly. You can't see it with your eyes. I mean, the colors still look the same to me, and the image still looks fine to me. But I noticed that it suddenly didn't hurt me as much as it did when I first got the phone. I'm noticing a similar phenomenon, I guess, with the Moto Z4. When I got it last year, the first few months were pretty tough. I couldn't use it very much. If I used it to, like, because I do a lot of Amazon shopping, like for my supplements and stuff, it had to be very quick. I had to know what I was gonna buy, find it very quickly, add it to my cart, check out, because I couldn't be on my phone very long because it was painful. Now I've had this phone for probably over a year and a half, I think, at this point. And I seem to be able to use it for longer periods of time. I seem to be able to kind of like scroll on Twitter, go through Instagram for a while. I did watch a movie on it recently. The movie was, I think, an hour and a half, something like that. And that was still painful. It did leave me with a lingering headache that I carried on into the next day. It wasn't the worst headache, but it was lingering pain, which I know happens when I overdo it. So for those of you that are looking for something, a laptop or a phone, check to see that it's LED. Another piece of advice that I can give you is that the older and cheaper the technology is, probably the better, because it's going to wear down faster and probably be more tolerable, especially if it's LED. Those are just the tips those are the things that I've noticed. Now, like I said, I still can't watch a 2-hour movie on my Moto Z4. It's just not, I mean, I can if I want to, if I can deal with the pain for a while, but it's not something that I often do. So Any suggestion, like I said at the beginning of this video, any suggestions that you have for me are not going to help. I've gone through it all. Anything that you can think of to help this issue, whether it's medication, whether it's special glasses, whether it's a certain type of phone, blue filter, blue blocking glasses, it doesn't work. I've done it all. It doesn't work. I've done different drugs. It doesn't work. The only thing I can do is work around it, which basically means not doing my own shopping, having someone else do it for me, and minimally using my phone and my laptop, or dealing with the pain. And the LED pain seems to go away faster than the LCD pain. LCD pain can linger for a long time, and I think it's just more intense. So that's, I try not to even go there. So yeah, I hope this helps. I really wanted to make this video again because I saw that people were looking at that video, and I couldn't help but wonder if there were some of you out there that have this. If you do, let me know down in the comments. If you want me to make another video of this, if you have questions that you want me to answer, let me know. This is a horrible, horrible symptom. I'm not gonna say that it isn't. It has robbed me of one of the things that I enjoy the most, which is watching movies. I mean, I went to film school. That was one of the things that was the career that I was hoping to work in. And it took that away from me, which is awful. But I've learned to cope. I have been able to watch movies recently on my older phone, and I have been able to do therapy sessions with my therapist on my laptop because I can at least tolerate an hour talking to her through the laptop once every 2 weeks. I can still do things. It wasn't the worst thing on earth, but it does suck to not be able to distract myself from my illness by watching TV, by binge watching something, or by just watching a movie whenever I want, or to be able to actually see a film on a big screen, which I think is the thing that hurts the most. But if you guys have any questions, if you're desperate for answers, just feel free to leave a comment. My heart goes out to you. It sucks. It sucks if you have this. I know there are worse things, but it doesn't make it any easier. It really does suck because you can't, it's the one thing that has taken away a lot of my independence. And I know that there has to be someone else out there that has this, especially if you're looking at this video. It is, it hurts me to think that there are other people out there that are dealing with this thing. So let me know if you like this video. Let me know if you want me to make another one. Ask me questions. Like I said, don't give me suggestions, but ask me questions if any question that you like. Because if I can help someone, deal with this, I mean, it helps. It would make me feel better. So give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you again soon.